Well, tonight, jurors in the Delphi murders trial are hearing from someone who was on the trail that day. It was the day Abby Williams and Libby German died.
Yes, that was February of 2017, and this witness also got into a heated confrontation with the defense during testimony today. Our Bob Siegel was in the courtroom for the graphic testimony and also that contentious debate.
And he just stepped out. He joins us now with a live look at what the jury heard today. Bob, please fill us in.
Tense and confrontational. That is how I would describe how testimony today began here at the Carroll County Courthouse with a witness who says that she saw the man who is accused of abducting Abby Williams and Libby German, specifically the man who is referred to as Bridge Guy. That man it was captured on an image on Libby's cell phone on the afternoon of the murders. Sarah Carbaugh told the jury she drove just a few feet away from Bridge Guy later that same afternoon. She testified for the jury, "I saw a man covered in mud and blood walking on the side of the road." She told jurors that his behavior was, in her words, sketchy, and he really stood out because he was wearing a lot of clothing on a warm day, and in her words, he was caked so much in mud he had to be right down by the river. But when it came time for cross-examination, defense attorney Andrew Baldwin pointed out her story about Bridge Guy has changed, specifically the part about the mud and the blood. He pointed out in her first interview after the murders, while talking to police, Carbaugh mentioned 11 times that the man that she saw was muddy, but didn't mention blood at all. During a second interview, she talked 16 times about Bridge Guy being covered in mud, but again, no mention of blood in the transcript of that second interview. And then 2 years later, during a third interview, the transcript shows she never mentioned Bridge Guy being muddy. Instead, it says he was bloody, something that she talked about 16 times during that interview. Carbaugh claimed none of that's true. And when the defense attorney asked if she wanted to review those transcripts to refresh her memory, she said she did not want to do that. So at one point, when she told the jury that she had passed just 3 feet away from Bridge Guy, at that point, Attorney Baldwin said, well, wait a second. Earlier in your testimony, in reports, you said that you were 20 feet away. And at that point, she snapped back at him in front of the jurors. She said, I didn't have a ruler or a measuring tape. Who does that while they're driving? Again, very testy exchanges. That was one of several that took place today. Later, the testimony turned from what I'd consider confrontational to just downright disturbing. That's when jurors got to hear testimony from the coroner who performed the autopsies on Libby and Abby on the day after they were murdered. Dr. Roland Kaur explained for the jury how he did those procedures and what he found. Jurors also saw graphic photos from the autopsies. They show Abby with a large neck wound. The coroner called it gaping, a 2 3/4 inch slash on the side of her throat that severed her jugular vein. The coroner also talked about photos that the jury saw of Libby. They showed 3 very large and deep holes in her neck. Those severed her jugular and 2 of her carotid arteries. So the coroner described how that would result in blood loss, a drop in blood pressure, a drop in heart rate, eventually the girls becoming unconscious and resulting in their deaths. And he estimated that that would have taken anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, although he said he was not completely sure about that. At one point, he mentioned that he thought that the wounds on their necks could be the result of perhaps a box cutter, but when he got some pushback from the defense attorney on that, he did say that he was not sure at all that it was a box cutter, and that he could not even really say how many weapons might have been used in the murders of the 2 girls. So it was a really hard day of testimony for the families and for the jury. One of the jurors, he buried his head in his hands. He barely looked at the autopsy photos at all. His face got bright red. Really difficult images and pictures to see in the courtroom. Coming up tonight at 6, There was one other witness that we heard from who talked to the jury today, and that witness had some very interesting information, some data that we now know came off of Libby's cell phone. We'll tell you about that coming up at 6. In Delphi, Bob Siegel, 13 News.
All right, Bob Siegel, our senior investigative reporter in Delphi. Thank you so much. And the defense is filing a new motion to allow their Odinism theory in the trial.
Richard Allen's attorneys say that the girls may have been part of a ritual killing. The judge previously blocked the defense from telling the jury about their alternative killer theory after the state argued that investigators dismissed the theory.
In a new court filing this morning, the defense asked permission again to tell the jury their theory and allow an expert on Odinism to testify. And there's a lot coming out of this trial every day, so we want to make it easy for you to get a more in-depth look at the developments.
That's right. You can check out our Delphi debrief. We have it for you weeknights at WTHR Plus at 10 o'clock every weeknight during the trial. That's where Bob Siegel and Emily Longnecker break down everything that they learned during the day in the courtroom.
WTHR Plus is a free download on Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, as well as Roku.
Other news now to the north, where tonight Anderson police say they're trying to find the person who shot a teen before crashing into a home. That 17-year-old is now hospitalized here in Indianapolis. Investigators believe he was inside his car when the suspect approached and shot him. Officers say the suspect was last seen running from the area. They say they also found a gun during their search.
Tonight, the Army is investigating the death of a soldier from northern Indiana.
Sergeant Sarah Roque was last seen in the Fort Leonard Wood area in southern Missouri. However, the chain of command and her family weren't able to reach her on Monday, and they reported her missing. They then found the 23-year-old from Ligonier dead.
Sergeant Roque enlisted in 2020 and was a bridge crew member.
Tonight, fire investigators are trying to figure out what sparked a blaze on the north side of Indy. Pike Township firefighters shared these pictures online of the fire near West 96th Street and Township Line. It happened around 8:30 last night at a condo, putting 2 people in the hospital and killing a cat there. Happening now in downtown Indianapolis, a whopping 70,000 FFA members are here for their annual convention.
It officially started today in downtown Indy. Our Marina Silva was there as students started the day networking and exploring.
And she caught up with some students who chose to attend the convention even after they lost their homes in Tennessee to the flooding from Hurricane Helene.
It's a conference FFA students look forward to every year.
It's great being a part of FFA. It's an honor to be a part of FFA. This amazing organization has changed my life so much.
Noah Cantor is part of the chapter in Irwin, Tennessee. Hurricane Helene hit his hometown last month.
Our hospital's gone, several homes gone, several businesses, they're not going to be able to be back up and running anytime soon.
His chapter didn't know if they could still attend the conference.
Oh, when it first happened, we held out hope. And then afterwards, we thought, well, maybe we are not going to be able to make it.
Until the National FFA stepped in to help prepare for the chapter today. Lainey Rogers is also in the Irwin chapter. She says going to the convention helps us stay at home.
It's been really amazing to be able to go to national convention and get kind of normalcy from what's going on at home, because there's a lot of uncertain things with when we'll go back to school, everybody recovering from everything.
Since the hurricane, this chapter has stepped up to help their town.
We cleaned up 2 farms. We volunteered in the shelter. Several of our officers have went at different times. Several of our different members have went at different times in groups and volunteered in the shelters.
And they want to continue helping even after they get back. Reporting in Indianapolis, Marina Silva, 13 News.
All right, thanks so much, Marina. The convention will be here for the rest of the week, wrapping up on Saturday. Angela? Nice weather for all these teens that are here visiting.
Yeah, nice and mild. We were back into the 70s today, but cooler air is moving in now. We're down to 65 degrees in Lafayette, 64 in Kokomo. Ahead of the cold front, we still have some 70s on the map east and southeast. Evening forecast, those temperatures are going to continue to drop quickly for most of us into the 50s by about sunset. Overnight temperatures in the 30s, cold enough for some frost. You'll need that coat tomorrow morning.